Greetings, folks. Welcome back to the Tractorfella channel, where we know nothing about tractors. On today's episode, we're going to take this beautiful Mercury with 7.5 horses of water turbulating fury, and we're going to see if it'll run. A buddy of mine dropped it off the other day and said, have a good time. I'd like to put it on a boat, so try to make it somewhat reliable. New words. But the kicker is, it's been sitting for about 20 years. He hasn't seen it run since he was a kid. So, let's dive in and have some fun. But first, let's get the Jolly Green Giant out of here so we have a little more space in this place. Next, you see all these wood chunks in here? Yeah, that's every single time Titan brings in a stick, and he just leaves pieces everywhere. Let's do a quick cleanup, shall we? It's always a good idea to use a broom when doing something like this to keep the dust down. It is windy AH outside today. If you haven't seen it, and you want to see it, how to make an overly complex yet foldable boat engine stand, check out the previous episode. Check. All right. Pretty exciting. Let's learn about it, shall we? The first time I saw this, I thought, wow, that is an extremely small package for a 75 horsepower engine. 7.5 horsepower. Mercury Marine Thunderbolt ignition. Mercury Marine Division of Brunswick Corporation. Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Interesting. Serial number if you care. She's dirty. She's been sitting in a boat on her side for a while. This was originally completely glued to the cover here. It looks like we've got some sweet dirt dauber nests underneath. How extraordinarily predictable. So the nice thing about two-strokes is even though they sit for a long time, generally they don't freeze up because they like to drink oil and gas. So let's see if we have any freedom here. Oh yeah. Quite smooth actually. Feels like we have compression too. Well, let's take this cover off. Once we figure out how. Is that what you are right there? Oh yes, that is what you are. Aha! Success. Look at that adorable machine. You know, I thought moving this over here I would stop bashing my head into it. Apparently not. Yeah! This thing is awesome. Look at the colors. TDC marking. Hold on, let me get into a better camera view here. Look at this setup. This is awesome. Danger, high voltage. Do not touch or disconnect any electrical system parts. Timing, 0.195 before top dead center. 34.5 degrees. 0.195. I wonder if this is the piston's location before top dead center. 0.195 inches before top dead center, which equates to 34.5 degrees. That would be my guess. What do we have? Mercarb? Nice. Mercarb BB2C. Mercarb BB2C. Tested okay by 664 NW. Is that June of 1964? No, it can't be that old. That's supposed to be someone's initials that they tested it. Equipped with Permagap spark plugs. Engineered by Mercury Marine. Look at the coils on this thing. They scream lightning. Speaking of lightning, Comet Lightning 837-5284 Mercury. Check that out. TDC #1 piston. Oh, this is where TDC is. Okay, I gotcha. And then we have degree markings here. That's pretty sweet. More carb info, 1364-4929 with a 3. Hopefully I don't even have to take that off. Wouldn't that be amazing if this just fired up? It'd be a super short video. What else do we have here? Stop. There's your stop button. There's your gear shifter. I think I'm done swooning over over this, so why don't we go ahead and pull the spark plugs. We'll get a little extra lubrication in that situation, and we'll go from there. Short plug on top, and by plug I mean wire. Long wire on bottom. I'm gonna get some compressed air and blow out the cobwebs before we open up the cylinders. What is happening with this hose reel? Oh my. As with most marine applications, this does not have an air filter. Because when you're on the water, what are you going to filter out? There's no dust, no debris. However, I don't want to blow a bunch in there. So, we'll get her all covered up first. Dirt daubers. All right, plug action. 19. No, it's not. This is another pivotal moment in my life where I get to actually use a spark plug dedicated socket. Only problem, it's in the basement of my house. Alrighty. Is it the 13/16? Oh, right on the money. Caution for spark plug use only. I wonder why. Why couldn't you use this 13/16 as a normal 13/16? Because it originally came with a rubber boot inside of it? I don't know. I do not know. Longer, a little more torque-y on the situation. What is with all the airplanes? Let's see what we can do here. Beautiful. Where are you flying? Apparently it's airplane joyride day today. Someone's flying their small plane about 200 feet overhead. I have a lot to talk about today, and I don't know why. Perhaps it's because I'm excited about this small engine of joy. Looks like a 2-stroke plug. I'll show you in a second. Actually, these look abnormally clean. The one on top was the one from the top. A little oily as expected, but they're pretty darn clean. Even though there's probably tons of old lubrication in there, let's add a little more. Go fly somewhere else. There we go. That way it'll get right down in there and sit on top of the pistons instead of just down one side. A little rotation. Ripcord's a bit on the gummy side as well. Want to have a look inside? I do. Alright, I accidentally recorded using the bore scope, so there's no audio, so we're going to do a quick patch over. Anyway, here we are, cylinder number 1. On the left we have, I believe, the exhaust ports, because they would be opening before the intake ports. I love these old pistons in 2-strokes. Maybe they're still designed this way, I don't honestly know. But that scoop is pretty wild looking. That's supposed to help, I believe, redirect the air so that we get a good exchange of exhaust gas to the new fuel-air mix. But yeah, I mean, it looks good in here. The cylinder looks nice. There's a little glazing on it, sure. I mean, it's an older engine. It's kind of to be expected. A couple of scratches here and there. But yeah, nothing too wild. There, we'll give it a little better look at the cylinder wall. Alright, let's check out number 2. Got the piston at bottom dead center. Same thing, exhaust ports on the left. Intake ports on the right. Cylinder looks good. I think some of those marks that look like streaks are from all the massive amount of PB blaster I put in there. But overall, I mean, this engine looks awesome. Very awesome. On this on an Outboard forum. It's a Mercury Outboard serial number lookup. Horsepower, we're going to go down to 7.5. Cylinders to beginning serial number. Okay, so here we are. We are, let me check really quick, 4091793. 4091793. So we're somewhere in this region here. Not so much here, not so much here, but right about here. So we can safely say this is either a 1975 or a 1976. How cool is that? For real. How cool. Okie dokie. Do a little freshening here. I'm sure you all know how to clean spark plugs. Might as well be brand new. Anybody else have one that... Oh, yeah. Unbelievably annoying and wasteful. Thank you. Bubble, bubble. Also, might as well be brand new. You know what's next. Let's check for spark. Time for lights out. Cross your fingers. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Come on, recoil. Work with me here. Top cylinder. And go. Oh, yeah. Nice and hot. Oh, this is a fantastic day. We have all the spark. Well, that slow motion scene took entirely too long to film. Let's go ahead and move on with our day, shall we? I'm looking at the angle at which this carburetor is sitting. It's at a pretty good angle upward. I think what I didn't take into account is that the transom on most boats in the back, they have some natural, well, they're designed to have some angle in the back of them. So I'm going to have to go ahead and adjust our screws down here because I don't think our float will correctly function if we don't. Stand by. It's looking better. Really glad I went with this turnbuckle idea. This gives us a wide range of adjustability. I'd say that's pretty close. This, on the other hand, may not even be needed at this point. Yeah. I mean, I could try to ripcord this thing and it's just going to tilt. The reason it's rocking now is because the corners of the 2x4s. Growing pains. Well, you know, this gives me an opportunity to do version 2.0 of the overly complex yet extraordinarily convenient folding boat engine stand. Are any of you screaming no right now? No, when it comes to getting this underwater when we fire it, because we will fire it. Probably gonna have to move this 2x10 up so I can actually get the bucket under there. Although it might still fit, I don't know. Like I said, growing pains. Welcome back, folks. It's a new hour, multiple hours later. I think my next course of action is to remove the pull start. My issue, we pull it, and then we end up with this. We have a screw here, we have a screw here, we have a screw down here. Let's give it a shot. It's amazing how many more flat screwdrivers I have compared to Phillips. Oh, we got a pop out of it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Are you gonna just... Oh, wow. It is that easy. This is a fantastic day. Let's see if my headlamp gives you some frequency shutter. We're gonna cut that zip tie right there. Make sure we get the wires underneath. That's a joke. Any idea what these wires do? Let's have a quick look. Looks like it goes up underneath. So I'm thinking that's part of our ignition system. I'm gonna have to adjust that as we pull it off. It's not a big deal. Getting closer. There it is. There's our ripcord. Seeing a lot of grease build up here. You can see there's no retracting going on. We're going to go ahead and put some penetrating oil on it, and we're just going to give it some rips and see if that frees it up. Because the last thing I want to do is pull this off, have a coil spring that's in there explode, and then have to try to wind that up. And it's already helping. I want to put the screw back in here where it's kind of difficult. I have this tool. You put that in the head of the screw. Pull that back. It holds the screw right where you want it and nice and tight. And then you turn on your headlamp and you thread it right down in where you need it to go. You got it right back where it needs to go. The heads of these screws are a little bit on the rounded side, so I'm sure this has been done before. Let's do a rip, see how she does. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Let's just check compression because it makes us happy. We'll start with the top one, which we will call cylinder number 1. Okay, large numbers are PSI, small numbers are kPa times 100 for our metric friends. I believe it has to be in gear to go to actual full throttle. There it is. And go. Six rips. Wow. That is a sweet number. What do we have? 90, 110 PSI? Pretty sweet. Bottom cylinder, aka cylinder number 2. We're going to do 6 rips for good comparison. Oh man, what a healthy engine. This one's up to 120. Good numbers. I'm going to throw the plugs in. We're going to put the wires on, give it a little teeny shot, and we're going to see what happens. Nada. Let's have the choke. Choke is off. No fire. Let's check the plugs. Survey says completely soaked. So I took a torch to them. They smell like PB Blaster. So they probably got flooded out by whatever's left in the cylinders. Round 2. Okay, the challenge is real. Spark check again. Holy cow. Tons of spark. Well, maybe the fuel just doesn't want to make its way to the cylinders. So let's do some direct injection. The engine checks all the boxes for being healthy. Cross your fingers. There it was. That's all I needed to hear. So before we put any fuel to this beast, I want to see what the oil looks like in the lower unit. Will it open? It will. This is going to fall out, and I will never get it back in there before all the oil comes out. Yep. Okay, there is oil. I did a search. It said expect the oil to look dark. I would say that looks dark. I don't see any metallic material in there. Oh, smells like regular gear lube. It's horrible. But good news, looks pretty clean. We will give that a change later. Now that the only thing I can smell is gear lube, let's go ahead and do this before I forget. All right, folks, here comes the next challenge. The Mercury Marine fuel tank. Listen. My buddy told me that that gas has been in there since the last time this engine ran. We're going to go ahead, pop that cap off, and see if we survive. I would like to preserve this fuel line as much as I can because I do not have any fuel line to replace it. Plus it's the original, probably from the 70s. We're gonna let it dangle. Doesn't really feel too bad. It's still pliable. Oh no, yeah, it's a little pressurized, but it came off. The seal, surprisingly, does not look too bad. Holy cow, this thing is up to here in fuel. You ready for the sniff test? It's deck stain. I'm not sure if you remember, I think it was the weed trimmer that we got the nasty gas out of, and then we decided to stain this piece of wood with. Let's take this, dip this nice paintbrush right into that liquid here, and we're gonna go ahead and just apply it to the surface. Oh my, look at the nice color that's coming out in that wood. That is just something special that you want for your house, perhaps your deck. You know, all jokes aside, the stain on the top, I'm pretty sure is older than the stain on the bottom. And the more I smell it, the less I think it's 20 years old. I think it's a little newer than that. So let's go ahead and ignite it and see how well it burns. My wife's all worried, so she left. We gotta try it at least. If it burns, we know it's not that old. I don't think it's that old. Oh crap, I have a smoke detector in here. Well, I don't think that fuel is that bad. Maybe it hasn't been 25 years since this ran. 20? 25 years? I don't know. Oh, how nice. Welcome back, folks. It's a new day. I have an extremely annoying little pony who thinks that using the electric insulators is great for itching his face. So, I'm going to go take care of that, but I'm bringing you in because I wanted to let you know that I'm going to go ahead and put all that two-stroke gas in that tank into this machine because I think it'll burn it just fine. And we found out it's still pretty flammable. Cold start. This is just the kind of stuff we're dealing with here, you know. A little too close, got to take care of it. I made the mistake of that tank being almost empty. I filled it all the way up with that rancid gas. It's burning it, but it smells so bad. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I'm gonna get back to tree trimming. Welcome back, folks. It's another new day. So I drained the rest of that gas into there. I poured some rubbing alcohol into there, drained it again. It's still relatively brown. There are very few situations in this world where the color brown is actually good. We're going to go ahead and claw this and get her all cleaned out. That fuel does stink, regardless of how flammable it is. It does not smell good at all. In other news, I went to the grocery today. I bought about 7 pieces of lettuce, and it cost me $36.58. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. However, with the amount of food I actually bought versus what it cost, sure did seem that way. My goodness. Is there a baffle in there? There must be a baffle over here. I did not know that. Makes sense, though. Helps keep the fuel from sloshing around. Gross. You want to light it on fire for fun? All right, here we go. Just kidding. Just kidding. That would have been a serious mistake. Don't check your fuel tanks with a match. 100% of the time, you will catch on fire. 65% of the time. Well, this is thoroughly annoying and boring. I'll bring you back when I'm done. Okay, poured some fresh gas in there, swished it around a few times. Looking pretty good. There's that baffle I was talking about. There's some little debris pieces down there. I'm hoping they just sort of stay at the bottom. We'll do a couple more attempts, see how it goes. I'm going to go ahead and clean the outside of this tank now, made by Mercury. And then I will find a way to pop open the end of that and just Put this guy on first. Protect the insides. Got a couple of options here. Just use some simple green on the front here so we don't take off our pretty cool information display. Nice. Simple green seems to be working pretty well. Shouldn't be as harsh on the hose as the alcohol would have been. You can sort of see what we're getting at here. A little before and after feature. Nobody wants a dirty fuel tank on their boat. Alright, we are looking brand spanking new. Might as well have been born yesterday. Now OCD is kicking in. So the receiving end has a ball, and I can assure you that it is still sealing well, because I can't squeeze anything through there, even if I try. What I'd like to do, though, is dislodge that, so I can purge some fresh gas through there and clean out that line. We're going to use our milling here. And we're just going to disconnect these two. This will also give us a good function check of that priming bulb. Holy smokes, that's out there. There we go. Oh, what do you know? The airplanes are back. How's the inside look? Pretty darn clean. We'll give it a quick carb cleaner flush or something like that. This is fresh, straight gas. It is not a mix. Tip it into its back corner here. We'll use our nice, freshly stained piece of wood. And hopefully, we'll get some flow. I might just circulate it through a few times and then we'll pump it out. There we go. Oh, look how it cleared up nice and quick. And out we go. Okay, I think we're going to be in good shape with the fuel tank. Carb cleaner. Ooh, wow, that is cold on the fingers. No reason to go obnoxiously tight. Doing so, you risk cracking the bottom of that fuel coupling there, in my opinion. Better safe than sorry. On to the next. Okay, next plan. Pending the hydrocarbon distribution center is actually clean and ready to function, we're going to go ahead, put some fresh two-stroke mix in here. I will probably add a little bit of extra oil because I don't know what this runs at. It may or may not be 50 to 1, but then we're going to plug in their fitting. We're going to prime the system. And we're going to see if it'll fire off of the gas. I'm sure some of you are concerned about me running it without any water on the impeller, and you would be right. However, all I want to hear is a pop before I fill up a bucket full of water. And by bucket, I mean my wife brought me an entire Tupperware container for us to use and try. Should be good enough to start. That was about, oh, that was a lot. That's okay, I have more. Then we will take, where are you? There you are. Oh, sea foam. We'll add a little bit of more sea and snow 2-cycle engine oil. And by a little bit, I mean probably too much. Is there any in there? There we go. Yep, and that's a lot. But considering the fact this beautiful machine hasn't run for a while, no harm, no foul. Oh, right on the foot. Well, I am thoroughly excited. Oh, my camera stand has failed me. So I'm currently using a screw to wedge in place and hold it steady. Oh, I am not familiar with this style of connector. It appears that we push and rotate. Looks like we rotate clockwise to engage, counterclockwise to disengage. That goes in there. There we go. We are engaged. I'm going to pump this up, and then we're going to check for leaks. Give it the old pumpy, see if we see anything. Ideally what happens, I'm sure a lot of you know this, but you should pump it until it gets tight. That means the bowl is full. Bowl full. Those are sort of sounding the same. Anyway, pump it till it gets tight. That means everything's filled up, and you should be ready to go after that. There we go. Now we have fuel. And guess what? It's tight. The bowl is doing its job. I'm excited. Check for leaks. You never know with the old fuel line. Choke. Neutral. I read you're not supposed to change gears unless the engine's running. My bad. Start position. And we are off. Yes! Oh, yeah! And that's it. I'm not even going to start it anymore. Oh, this is fantastic. We need water. I'm going to buy me a Mercury and cruise it up and down the lake. Fairly stable. Glitter. Let's see, I think we'll do this. And we'll get another 2x4, or a couple. That should work. You might be asking me why I don't use the earmuff style. For those of you that don't know, this is the earmuff style. You attach a hose here, put this over your water intake, and then you would put it on the engine in a similar fashion like this. Turn on your hose, and then you'd supply all the water you need for your engine. Well, one thing I noticed, there's one little teeny hole on one side. Let me show you. So what I noticed is that there is a little teeny hole here, but there is no hole on the other side that I can find anywhere. I don't see any intake ports on this device. But if you look down here, it's almost like a jet ski intake. You've got a screen to filter out your debris. But if I was a betting man, I would bet this is where the water goes in, because there is no other obvious location that has any holes in it. And some of you might think the exhaust comes out there, but I do not believe that's correct, because if you look, it's hollow in there, and there is carbon buildup on the inside, which leads me to believe that the exhaust does still come out at the propeller. And also, this looks like a secondary. Actually, this looks like exhaust too. So I don't know. I mean, do we have an exhaust up high and an exhaust down low? Flush. Interesting. Oh, maybe for saltwater use? Either way, we're going to put it in some water. Come on, water. Oh, yeah. We just happen to own the Kinkmaster 5000 rather than the anti-Kinkmaster 5000. Some of you might be concerned about the water and the temperatures and everything like that. Turns out that outboard engines are self-draining, so we won't have any issues. All right, time to pump the primer. Let's see if she fires. Probably get this out of here so it doesn't get chopped up. Birds. Partial choke. Well, isn't that a thing of beauty? We have good water flow. We have exhaust flow from in the water. We have exhaust flow from above the water. Let's see if we can chop up our container. Getting warm. Definitely a little heavy on the oil. Reverse. Bumping pretty well. It's running great. It's got the sweet little two-stroke boat motor wiggle going on. This is fantastic. What a great day. Maybe someone can explain why we have an exhaust port up here and why we have an exhaust port down here. What you think? Running good? I think so too. So when I was a kid, we had an old boat motor at our house. Hadn't run for years. Got it fired up. That one, the cylinders were not water cooled. These cylinders are water cooled. Looks like the water must come up from the bottom and then drain out through the top here. Still staying nice and cool, even at an elevated idle. What a sweet machine. All right, let's drain all the water out before it gets too cold. On a side note, this may or may not be why people aren't huge fans of two-strokes. Oh boy. Oh boy. I don't think my wife's gonna want this bucket back. Then again, I did make it a little rich in oil. And that's that. Oh, quite a bit in there still. Version 2.0 is definitely going to have a set of wheels on it. Cold hands. Cold hands. What are they doing? Anyway, it's been a fun day. Gonna go warm up. I'll see you soon. Welcome back, folks. It's a new day. The reason we are out here is this. Looks like I spill oil, even when it's not fully my fault. Are we surprised? No, not really. Is this gear case oil, or is this because I mixed the gas way too rich? One way to find out. We all know what gear case oil smells like. Oh, thank goodness, it's motor oil. Woo! I'll just rub that in. There we go. All right, so I did some research. Turns out these babies are good with 50 to 1. With all that oil that I added with the small amount of gas, I probably was upwards of 25 to 1. I thought, oh, no big deal. It's been sitting a long time. A little oil isn't going to hurt anything. But I am 98.6% confident that our slight oil slick in here is due to the excess oil. So we're going to do an experiment. I can't do it today because it's butt cold outside and I'm fresh out of beer. So what I want to do is I want to repeat what we did. I'm going to take all of that ultra heavy oil gas and we're going to get rid of it. We're going to put some straight up 50 to 1 in there. And then we're going to put it back in the bucket after I douse it in brake clean and clean it out. And we're going to see if we get an oil slick again. I'm feeling a lot better because I was trying to source some parts. And yeah, not exactly easy for something made in 1975. Since we're out here, even though it is cold, and obviously I'm not in my usual nasty looking work outfit, let's clean this up. A little bit of cleaner, maybe even some wax, depending how motivated I feel. I bet this will clean up and look beautiful. Any of you folks out there enjoy fishing or boating? I did a lot of boating when I was growing up on the Sea Ray from that episode I did about the massive power steering leak. But it's funny, when I was 18, 19, 20 driving that boat, all the confidence in the world, probably due to stupidity. I take my family out on that boat nowadays, and it makes me so nervous. And I don't really know why. When we're navigating, no big deal. Don't care about navigation. I got myself an app on my phone. Helps me, find the shallow spots, find the deep spots. But when it comes to slow maneuvering, say we went boat camping not too long ago, trying to get myself in this really tight spot. Got the heart pumping. Looked at my wife and I was like, sweetheart, I am really nervous about this. She said, you're going to be fine. I said, you hop off, get on the dock, help me out. And she did, and we got to where we needed to go. And it was funny, we were talking to some people that live in that area, and they said, oh, that spot right there, you got to get between these two boats, then do a 90 degree, then a 180, then a 360, then a 720, and you'll be just fine. No big deal. Okay, look at how beautiful the paint is on this piece of history. I'm starting to wonder if there is some sort of spark arrestor up here. So I do editing as I'm making videos, and it turns out that when you're at a low speed, the exhaust has to push out through the water, right? Well, that water makes back pressure on the exhaust. So what they do is they make a second port here so that the exhaust can come out in two spots if it needs to. And it's still pretty quiet, but I'm wondering if there's a type of screen in here that we can take a look at and maybe clean up. That might even improve performance as well. Something else I was thinking about, we have 120 psi of compression in the bottom, we have about 110 psi in the top. And the only reason I can account for that is because the cold water comes in the bottom first, and then as it moves up to the top, it's already been heated a little bit, and it's possible that you get a little more wear from the higher temperature in the top piston number one, cylinder number one, whatever you want to call it. So I'm curious if that's why our compression is different from the top to the bottom. Now that we've run it quite a bit, I would like to redo that compression test and see if there's been any change. It's possible that there was a little bit of maybe ring stickage. It's kind of hard to say, but I'd still like to check it out. Oh, this is the ultra dirty side. I'm surprised there's not a dirt dauber nest all built up in here. Stacking dirt dauber dimes. Now we're looking pretty. Now time for the top. Get the extra dirt off first. That way we do the least amount of scratching. Kind of like when you go into a car wash and they give you a spray down first before you go through the car wash. So all that sand and dirt doesn't embed in the paint and leave a bunch of scratches. Does this make you guys happy? Cleaning things up? Makes me happy. Looks like we may have some damage to the clear coat. Not too sure what's going on there. Just gently gonna explore this. Yeah, I believe that's actual damage to the paint. Maybe we can just smooth it out a little bit. Okay, well, that is 110% better. I'm feeling good, and I'm done for the day because I'm frozen. Welcome back, folks. It's a new hour. You know, one thing we didn't check is to see if these are Mercury plugs and if they are really permagap. Plus, after that little bit of running we did, it'll be nice to see how the plugs look. We have Champion L77JC4. Okay. So I remember from when we originally pulled these, the bottom one did have more carbon buildup on it than the top. I do see more oil, but that's also because I made a super rich mixture. But who knows? Maybe it's just the way this engine's designed. Could be that the bottom gets more of a mixture than the top. I don't know. There's also a high probability that the compression will be lower in both cylinders, because when we first did it, both cylinders were filled with PB Blaster. So that was a wet compression, which would fill in all the gaps in the rings. Now that we have run the engine and I have not put any oil back in there, there's a possibility it'll be lower. So anyway, I'm done talking for, 6 or 8 seconds. Let's see what happens. Here we go. And oh wow. Hey, the top went up to 120. That's awesome. Well, I'm feeling really good right now. 120 on the dot. Cylinder number 2. And here we go. Very nice. This is an all-purpose grease. Yep. Starting to come out right from the bottom there. It seems kind of strange to me that there wouldn't be a grease fitting up top. As you can see, it's, like I said, it's coming out the bottom. We'll pull it off in a little bit, see if we can find something. So next, the throttle is fairly sticky. Like super sticky. And you can hear it being super sticky. Let's throw some PB on there, try to loosen things up a little bit. This shaft moves here. Curious if it'll just sort of seep. I actually despise that word. If it'll seep down the middle there. Oh wow, that is actually you know how there's a mechanical advance on like your automotive engine? I'm pretty sure when you juice it, that's what that arm is doing up top there. That whole thing that's swiveling back and forth. Fairly certain that's your mechanical advance. You can see that post rides on that cam. So as you get an advance in timing, your throttle responds accordingly. And that's what that is right there. So there are a couple of things I'm not pleased with. I am in the fast position, which is full throttle, and it says start. And then I go down here, and it's below the point at which it says shift. So we're going to use a 5/30 seconds Allen. Next, there is a, well, it looks like we can take that off too. Let's see if this comes off. It does. Nice. Got our handle here. Next, can we just pull this off? Yeah, we can pull it off. There we go. Oh, look at that. There's the engagement. Let's just pull this. Okay, so obviously this is not our issue. This spins nice and free. There is a possibility that this is off by a tooth when compared to this, so we can maybe fix that. Yeah, I cannot turn that by hand at all. It is super sticky. I had a slight malfunction with the camera stand there. I had to guess this has not been touched by any type of lubricant for a long time. So we're going to take our rod that came out of the primary tiller handle, engage the teeth, and we're going to work it back and forth a little bit. So that feels a lot better. Things are looking pretty good. If you watch, when we're going to full throttle here, it takes a lot of effort to get it to full throttle. We're going to go ahead and put some grease on that. Take a little bit of grease, and we're going to put it on this rubbing surface here. It is better. We'll put more on there just because, well, just because we can. Add a little more here. I'm going to take it down to minimum throttle, which is right here. I'm going to put this guy back in there. What I want to do is get this square index in a location that'll give us an accurate reading. Actually, I think I just got really lucky. Start, shift, fast. Well, I'm probably getting a little obsessive about this. Arm still moves. Everything is tight. Linkage works. Sweet dreams. Welcome back, folks. It's a new day. It's beautiful, but it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Working on this gorgeous little machine. I just don't think it's going to happen for a little while. So, let's button a few things up, and we'll conclude this episode. But first, there's something I've been meaning to do. Let's go. Currently warming up the tractor because we got a bunch of debris on our fence again. Desperate times call for desperate measures. So cold. This probably isn't even tight. What am I thinking? Gas. Oh, it's been on the whole time. That's good.
Aaron!
What? Definitely not attached. Get out of there. As I was saying, I need to warm my fingers up. Had to run down the road, get a bunch of big branches off of our fence yet again. All right, time for the one, the only, Mr. Heater. A reverse thread. Always found that weird. So a friend was telling me, same friend that brought this over, was telling me about a 220 volt electric heater. He said he did some math and it came out to very minimal price per hour. Nice quiet fan, probably mount it over there. Might consider putting some insulation up here. See if we can remember this. Turn that on high, turn on the gas, push the little button. There we go. Let her glow. Calm down. Shh. Oh. Thank you, Mr. Heater. That is hot. We went from 60 to 20 in a matter of a day or two. I walk outside and my body's like, ah! What is happening? Why don't you guys warm up for a sec? I'll be right back. How do we end this Mercury 75 episode? Well, I talked about doing the gear oil. I don't have the gear oil. I talked about doing the impeller. Yeah, definitely don't have the impeller. So, I guess we're just going to put the lid on. Inside's pretty clean, by the way. Actually, well, if I wanted to glue that back in place, I couldn't anyway because it's black cold outside. It's like a door latch-ish. This washer pushes up into the housing and it sort of grabs onto the triangle, or the mushroom, if I may. Okay, we're in the front hole. Okay, a little bit of love, a little pinch, a little tickle. We're ready to go. Almost forgot. I want to see if I can find a grease fitting up top here. I'm not seeing any greasable stuff on the front here for that pivot. Just some linkages, springs, etc. One grease fitting here, and that's it. Nothing else. Nuttin' honey. Alright, so here's the scoop. I'm going to set this in the corner like a couple other things. When it warms up and we can actually test it out, we'll go ahead and get back on it. Fix the seal in here. We will talk to my buddy, see if he wants to get a new impeller or impeller kit, which I'm having trouble finding. I mean, you can go to the website, marinewhatever.com, get yourself some individual parts. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, also, Probably a good idea to change gear lube. I'm gonna make a list. I have a notebook over here. I'm gonna start making lists of what I want to do for each of these projects. Hopefully this spring/summer we can mount this to my good buddy's aluminum boat, take it out for a shakedown cruise. And as a teaser, I have a Johnson 9.9. Nope. I forgot. Growing pains. As a teaser, let me show you this Johnson that we're gonna mount to the boat at the same time. All right, camera stand, don't fail me now. Oh, wow, my light's gonna fail me now. I just fixed you. Anyway, I've got a Johnson, 9.5 horses of water turbulating fury. I found it on the side of the road. Can you believe that? I took the top off of it before I was doing YouTube, and it's so clean on the inside. I cannot believe it. Looks like we have a different fuel coupling as well. We'll have to address that. I do not have a boat tank that I own. Anyway, it was his idea. Put both engines on the boat, do a test. See how they work. YouTube says you should move around a little bit so that people don't fall asleep. I'm not very good at that, so we're gonna try this. If you like what you saw here today, come on back. I will be here. Alright, this is getting weird. And as always, if in the future you find yourself super bored, super desperate to watch something on YouTube, swing on by, I'll be here. But my light won't. See you then.